Okay, welcome back to the prison series. This is episode 51. Today we'll be talking about the 10 last meals of death row inmates. From the indulgent to the reminiscent to the symbolic, here are some interesting and surprising final meals of the death row inmates. If you asked what your last meal on earth would be, what would you choose? Would it be an extravagant feast, a comforting memory from your childhood, an unhealthy blowout ordinarily avoided, or a nourishing, healing concoction? The death penalty in Australia. Okay, so the last person executed in Australia was Ronald Ryan, who was hanged in 1967. He was convicted of, okay, yeah, this is pretty, I'm just looking at it. Okay, so he basically was a murderer of this guy named George Hodson during an escape from Pendridge Prison in Victoria. At the time, there were widespread protests and general public outrage. By 1985, the death penalty had been abolished in all states and territories. Okay, so the death penalty around the world. The death penalty does still exist in some parts of Asia, the Middle East, Africa, and America. You may or may not be surprised to know that public sentiments for capital punishment varies considerably by country and by the crime that has been committed. Okay, so rules of the last meal. In America, it's customary for prisoners on death row to be given a last meal of their choice. In reality, the meal is provided a day or two before execution. And there are some limitations. For example, alcohol and tobacco are often denied. The budget for the meal also varies considerably by state. For example, in Florida, the meal must cost less than 440 US dollars, and in Oklahoma, the limit is just 15 US dollars. Okay, interesting, right, people? Oklahoma, they're 15 US dollars, that's being cheap. At least in Florida, you have a budget of $40. In some states, there are also rules about who can attend your last meal. For example, in Louisiana, the prisoner director joins the convict. On occasion, an inmate has been allowed to share the meal with a fellow inmate or have the meal distributed throughout other prisons. Throughout other prisoners. Again, now would be a good time to like the video and to subscribe to the channel. Do you guys like the prison series? And also, if you are new to the channel, go ahead and check out the death series and let me know if you've seen any of the episodes and which episode is your favorite, and are you enjoying these story times? Okay, so the last meal request. Over the years, there have been many creative requests for death row's last meals. Here are 10 of the most unusual last meals. Okay, so this guy's name is Joseph Mitchell Parsons. Okay, so Joseph Parsons was executed in 1999 after he hitched a ride with a man named Richard Ernest, who he later murdered. His last meal, Parsons was joined by his brother and his cousin. Together, they shared a meal of Burger King Whoppers, fries, chocolate shakes, chocolate chip ice cream, and a pocket of grapes, and bubble gum. Maybe the gum brought back good memories to their childhood. At the time, his lawyer said Parsons chose a Burger King meal because of their slogan, "Have it your way." Good reason, right, people? Which he believed was symbolic of Parsons taking control of his own life. I like how that sounds. Okay, so next on our list is Gary Carl Simmons Jr. Okay, so Gary Simmons was executed in mid-June of 2012 after he was convicted of being involved in the murder of Jeffrey Wolf. His final meal request included 2 Pizza Hut Supreme deep dish pizzas, 2 kilograms of Parmesan cheese, and 10 cups of ranch dressing. Okay, so it says 230 grams 230 grams of jalapeno nacho cheese, 100 grams of sliced jalapenos, and 1.2 liters of cherry Coke, 2 large strawberry shakes, a liter of strawberry ice cream, and 1 family-sized bag of Doritos. At almost 30,000 calories, that's a lot of food. Yeah, it is a lot of food. Well, I guess he knew he would be passing, so who cares, right? Might as well pig out. Next on the list is Gerald Lee Mitchell. He was executed in 2001 for the murder of 2 18-year-old boys. At the time of the crime, he himself was just 17 years old. For his last meal, he simply asked for a pocket of assorted Jolly Ranchers, and that is all he wanted. Also, whose meal did you guys like the best? If you see a meal on this that you really like, put it in the comments below. Okay, next on our list is Barton K. Kirkham. In 1956, Barton Kirkham murdered 2 clerks during the robbery of a grocery store. Before he was executed in 1958, he asked the prison ward for pizza and ice cream because you get cheese, meat, and everything else in one meal. Not so much fuss. Okay, yeah, I like how that sounds. The cheese and ice cream. The pizza and ice cream. Yes, his meal sounds great. But make that pizza pepperoni pizza. Okay, so next on the list is Dobie Gills Williams. Was executed in 1999 after he was convicted of entering a woman's home and murdering her. From his last meal, he wanted a sugar rush, which he presumably achieved by eating ice cream and 12 chocolate bars. Okay, no real food, just sweets. Next on the list is Philip Ray Workman. In 1981, they said he robbed a fast food restaurant. Philip Workman shot and killed a police officer. Okay. So then they said, in an attempt to make amends, instead of feasting on a final extravagant meal, he asked prison officials to give pizza to the homeless. Unfortunately, his request was denied. In an act of protest, Workman refused to eat anything before his execution. Okay, well, people, that's crazy, right? Just crazy. He might as well have picked something to eat himself. Next on the list is Ronnie Lee Gardner. Ronnie Gardner was sentenced to death after he basically murdered 2 men. The first during a robbery and the second while attempting to escape a courthouse. In the 36 hours before his execution, Gardner avoided food and only drank liquids. It seemed he was making room for his final meal, a feast of steak, lobster tail, pineapple pie, vanilla ice cream, and 7-Up. Sounds tasty, right, people? Next on the list is Thomas Joseph Gracio. He was executed in March of 1995 for the murder of 2 elderly people. For his last meal, he asked for 24 steamed mussels, 24 steamed clams, a Burger King double cheeseburger, 6 barbecue spare ribs, 2 strawberry milkshakes, some pumpkin pie with whipped cream and diced strawberries, and a can of SpaghettiOs with meatballs served at room temperature. Despite fulfilling his massive order almost perfectly, Grasso was a one-tough customer. In his final moments, he said, "I did not get my SpaghettiOs. I got spaghetti. I want the press to know this." Seems we know it. Next on the list is Stephen Michael Woods Jr. Stephen Woods was convicted of the murder of a young couple in May of 2001. Before his execution in 2011, he feasted on 1 kilogram of bacon, a large pizza, fried chicken, Mountain Dew, Pepsi, root beer, and sweet tea. Ice cream, 2 burgers with bacon, fries, and a dozen garlic breadsticks with marinara on the side. And the next person on our list is Victor Harry Fieger. In 1960, Victor Fieger lured Dr. Edwards Bartels to a motel room where he murdered him. Fieger was arrested when he tried to sell the doctor's car. For his final meal, Fieger requested a single olive with the pit left inside. After his execution, examiners found the pit in the pocket of his suit. The story goes that Figure hoped he'd be buried with the pit so an olive tree, a symbol of peace, would grow from his grave. Okay, so from the indulgence of the symbolic, each of these prisoners had their reason for choosing the items on their final earthly meal. Thinking about your own death can be uncomfortable, but it's important to make your wishes known so that if something happens unexpectedly, your family is aware of what you would have wanted. This is where the team at Wild, this is we don't even need to go any farther. These people are crazy. They're promoting their business. But yes, so anyway, that was pretty much 10 of the last meals from Death Row. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like, share, and subscribe.